it. Now I'm recording it, so we're already
Now
off
it's
to a good
recording.
start. We are having some internet issues today. The downstream is bad, real bad. Multiple reports of that in the area, but my uploads look okay. So we're just going to
So
go for it.
anything that sounds horrible from my side is the internet's fault,
Yes.
for sure.
And you look fine on my screen.
I do
And
look fine.
you look damn fine. So why are we here, Ryan? What are we doing? We're gonna yak for like 2 hours.
Ish, yeah.
We're gonna try, see if we can make it the whole way.
We're going to see when we get bored
Yep.
and when everybody leaves.
We're gonna pay attention to chat. So if you have questions, pretty much anything.
I'm going to point at my monitor as if you can tell that I'm pointing where you're chatting.
On the chats, on their view, that was the opposite side of the chat window. But yes, there you go. Perfect. And so if you got questions, is the chat actually working? Another question. I just saw some chats go off and yep, there it is. Okay. So if you got questions, otherwise we're just going to yak about all sorts of things: comic books, video games, movies, TV. I don't know, any other nerd thing we want. Pretty much anything we want. And I guess that's really all I got. So how you been, Ryan?
I'm alive and not dead. So I'm good. I'm excellent.
Good. I also, though I feel like it was a near miss this last week. I was completely devastated by a cold, but I am back to 80%. So if I sound nasally, I apologize. But that's where we're at. How was your holiday weekend?
Uh,
Or week?
it was basically a week. It was okay. It was family, normal, hang out with people, do fun stuff, don't go to work. I like it. And I was not sick. In fact, the most important thing I did, well, I shouldn't say most important because it's probably the least important, but the most exciting thing I did was brew my first batch of beer in a very long time.
Oh, the jealousy flows through me.
It, it is actually in the corner over yonder fermenting, and every once in a while, my blow off tank goes. It makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
So Deets, like what did you try to brew? Or what did you brew? I guess you didn't try. You are doing it.
It is in process. It's a rather simple American style cream ale, but it is an imperial cream ale. So it is, as the recipe transcribes, it should end up being about 7 or 8%. But it also said that the starting gravity was going to be 1.073, and it ended up being 1.083.
So much higher.
So much higher.
So there's more sugar.
There's more sugar. And I'm also planning on adding some berries that were on sale at Meijer this week into it for the secondary.
So more sugar.
So more sugar. So I'm basically going to try to turn it into a very strong soft parade.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
we'll see how it turns out.
Local nuts, soft parade is like, it's a very fruity beer, but it's delicious. It's not too sweet, and it's.
You probably specify it's a Shorts beer.
Yeah, if you're into name brands, that's a local brewery called Shorts. Has made it regional. It's regionally wide.
Yeah, it's outside of the state now.
Some of the best beer on the planet for sure. And I've been around places, and everywhere I go, I look for breweries, and I always say Shorts holds their own against all of them. That's amazing. And now I want your beer. That's what I want right now. Can we end this and just drink your beer?
No, you have to wait like 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I don't like that.
I know.
So I, as a father of multiple kids,
so many
kids, have not brewed since the young ones came. So it's been at least 5 years now since I have brewed. All my equipment sits in the corner, which is sad days, but it'll come back. We don't have room for it in our current situation.
Just time.
But I am excited for whatever you get going on.
It's gonna be delightful.
Did you do a kit or mash tun type or a partial or hybrid?
I
All grain.
did.
All grain is what I was looking for.
All grain is what you're looking for. I did a kit just with the extracts.
Dude,
I've
no
looked
shame.
into I've looked into doing the all grain stuff, and it looks great. But there's
It's a
just so
lot of
much
work.
more equipment and so much more work, and I'm like,
Ooh, the
I like it.
equipment. So pro tip, equipment's not that bad because you can do what's called brew in a bag. And a buddy of mine from Grand Rapids didn't teach me this, but he told me about it. I haven't done it because I have a mash tun and I have all the junk you're supposed to use all grain for. But if you brew in a bag, you basically take the giant strainer bag and then you just brew it in that in some hot water, like a big tea bag. The only thing when you buy your grains from like the local store here, or if you have them shipped in, you can have them pre-cracked.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically just dump all that stuff in a big giant painter's bag, like a filter bag, and you just steep it like a tea bag for however long. There's instructions all over the internet. And so you don't have to do all that mash tun stuff. And most people say it turns out just as good. And it's way quicker and there's less hassle. You don't have to buy $200 worth of igloo thermoses and junk to put together a mash tun. So you may want to check that out if you're interested in doing full grain. I would much rather start there. If I had to do it all over again, I would start there.
Yeah. On the other hand, there's something about just sitting down with a box and then opening it and then boiling water, and an hour and a half later, you're like, I'm good.
It's true. I've done boxes, many of them, and they turn out good, and I enjoy that process. And then you can tweak it however you want with flavor. Just worry about that stuff.
Yeah. And you're still like, even if it's not something you're doing like artistically, like you're still basically getting 5 gallons of beer for the price of like 2 or 3 6-packs.
I have not bought kits in a long time. If I recall, they were like $25-$30.
Yeah, your basic ones are like your cheapest ones are usually about $20, and then your nicer ones run anywhere from 30 up to like your high end
50.
imperial stouts and stuff will be around 50.
Still, I mean, for 5 gallons of beer.
Yeah, like
especially if it's good.
Yeah, I mean like 5 gallons of like the equivalent of like a dragon's milk or something, and you're like, or even if that's like $55-$60,
right?
That's still a good deal.
I mean, a 4-pack of KBS from Founders cost you $25. So,
yeah.
I mean, not to say you're brewing KBS, but I mean, you can brew some really good stuff for that. It's awesome. I'm excited. Yeah, all I did was go over to my parents' house and then get completely sick, even though I had the whole week off. That's not true. This whole little shrine thing, at the beginning of the week before I got sick, we moved our office all around. So before, my wife's desk was behind me. So if anybody watches my stream, I had like a big desk behind me and a bunch of stuff going on back there. That's my wife's workbench. So we actually were able to rearrange this room. So she's got a whole side of the room to herself. And I have this corner over here where I get to tuck a bunch of toys and make it look like I'm a nerd. Not that I need props to help me with that. But,
I say, because it didn't look like that already.
But you got to sell a brand, I guess.
I have a mountain of nerd.
Yep. That's legit. You aren't pretending like I am.
This is what my room actually looks like.
That's awesome. All right. Well, that's small talk. I don't know what else we got. We had 8 people watching for a second there. They ran away quickly.
We bored them with beer talk.
Yeah. I don't want them in the stream anyway.
If they can't handle the beer brewing, they don't need to be here. Can we talk about the fact that the Master Chief Collection is finally coming out for PC?
Yeah, we can absolutely talk about that because I currently have like 6 months of Game Pass for PC, Xbox through like some deal. I didn't have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's free with that.
Nice.
And I don't have to rebuy the Master Chief Collection, which I have on the Xbox. So I am excited to download it and play it.
That's doubly nice.
In fact, I click on it like every day because I don't actually know when it's coming out.
Tomorrow, the 3rd.
Okay. So tomorrow when I actually click on it, I will legitimately get a thing that says, we need to install this 120 gigs worth of game.
It is currently in my cart in Steam that I'm looking at right now, just waiting for me to actually click a button to do anything with it.
That's sweet. I am curious how well. Not all of them are coming out day one, right? There's still some that they're porting to keyboard and mouse, or are they all supposed to come out?
I'm not sure because the Steam page at least doesn't specify what versions are coming out when. They just say that like you're basically purchasing it and it includes all of them. So it's weird.
I thought I had read somewhere that initially they weren't going to have every single one.
I have also read that, which is why I don't know. It's odd.
The first game to be released in the PC as part of this collection will be Reach. So it looks like they're going to have games in chronological order. So it looks like they're going to release them one game at a time, but this doesn't really say.
But that's weird because oh no, that I get it. Okay. Because in Steam you have the whole collection or you have just Reach. And if you get the whole collection, that includes okay. Never mind. I get it now. I get it now.
I also get it, I think. But I am very excited for that. I'm excited to see how well the multiplayer works because I would love to get into like a group of us together and do some old school 2v2 action or something.
I would even love just to get a group of people together and play through like the campaign from beginning to end. Yeah. Everything.
Special Halo 1. I will stream that for days if we want to get together at night. Or whatever nights you have available. I know your nights are usually a little more taken up than mine. But the nights you have available, I'll be happy to like stream those nights, and we can definitely try to make it through. Would love to do Halo 1 all the way through.
Yeah, I'd even love to do with
I'd
Reach
do them all.
Out, I'd even do Reach. Yeah,
Reach was great. Love that game.
The final Bungie Halo,
and I thought they did a great job. And I'm sorry for armor locking because I'm an armor lock main. If anybody isn't old enough to remember the "I'm sorry for armor locking" song,
I don't even know if I remember that song. I should.
Send you. It's quite hilarious. It's gonna play. Copy video. In chat if anybody else wants it. And not that you have to watch it right now, but also it is a parody song, and basically the theme is "I'm sorry for armor locking" because it was like super overpowered in the multiplayer. So it's quite hilarious.
How you sent it to me in 2 locations.
One was Hangouts, the other is the stream, so everybody can see it. But yes, I'm super stoked for that. Since we're on video games, what else is coming out? I've been playing Jedi Fallen Order.
Is it good?
Yes. Ish. So my quick review of Jedi Fallen Order is that it's a Dark Souls clone, pretty much through and through. Which I did not play a lot of Dark Souls. I booted up 1 and 3 and I didn't really get into it. But obviously you're Jedi. It takes place, I'll try not to get into spoilers, but it takes place kind of a little ways after the Empire is still around. So it's before the original trilogy, but after Clone Wars, because Order 86 has been executed, and you are basically a ex-Padawan to one of the Jedi Masters that got killed when the clones all went nuts and killed everybody.
Gotcha.
And then you're kind of like, you go on a adventurer's quest to find yourself and find your Jedi ways and fight the Empire. And there is a little bit of, I originally called it a mix between Dark Souls and Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed. But somebody last night on my stream said he thought it was a mix between Dark Souls and Prince of Persia, which I thought might even
Just kind
be.
of like a cross between Tomb Raider
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yep.
and
But I thought
Assassin's
that might
Creed.
be actually a better description just because there's a lot of wall running, which was big in Prince of Persia.
Hmm.
But it's mostly a Dark Souls clone. And so far, the engine, especially for the piece, it was originally obviously developed for console, and the port to PC is pretty shite. So Respawn, step up your game. Um, but it works. But it's not optimized for PC at all. Like I don't have the world's
It's
biggest box, but it crushes my box like crazy. It's not shabby. I have a Ryzen 5 1600 with like 16 gigs of fast RAM and a 1070. So not terrible, not great.
sure.
And it slaughters my box. Like I can't stream with it on because it fills my RAM and my CPU up. Which is weird because the game should be spending a lot of time in the GPU, I think. But
Hence, not optimized.
so there's a lot of things going against it. The combat's clunky. You have to play it with a controller, as far as I'm concerned. The mouse and keyboard controls just feel like complete garbage. And then when you're in, like, it feels sloppy. It's not tight. Like I felt Dark Souls was a lot tighter when you're dodging, rolling, and attacking. And this game is not. But the set pieces, the story, the way the graphics work, like it's super beautiful. So if you're playing it for the story, you're in for a real treat.
I was never a fan of Dark Souls because when I play games, I like to enjoy myself.
It's not that hard. It's not as hard as Dark Souls.
Okay, good.
I'm playing on the second highest difficulty, and it is difficult, but not anywhere near like a Dark Souls. You're going to die 1,600 times before you learn how to beat a boss. Difficult.
That being said, the lack of optimization makes me a little sad
And they do
because I
have
would think a
a.
huge release like that they would do a better job of.
It was obviously targeted toward the consoles. I've seen it play on Xbox, especially One X, and it looks beautiful and it runs gorgeous. So I think most of their efforts were put into console, and then they just ported it for PC for that cash grab. I laugh, I cried. It's better than cats. I don't know. I don't know about that. Cats are. I'm just kidding. I hate cats. Sorry, kitty. Um. Thank you, Adams, a nerd. And
Accurately titled name too.
you win the first prize of the day for chatting first, which is you get hype in chat. All the hype. But yeah, I enjoy it. If I would say if you're interested in it, wait, get it for $30, and then play it through on easy, and then just enjoy the storyline and the set pieces and the.
All right.
What other video games are coming out soon? I had something coming out soon. Mechwarrior is coming. Have you looked at that at all?
There's a new Mechwarrior.
Yep, December 10th, I believe. Mechwarrior
I,
5.
I feel like I did hear about it. Now that's a look.
It's gonna be sweaty, I think. And by sweaty, I mean like you're gonna have to really be into it. It's not gonna be noob friendly.
I still haven't actually played through Battletech, which is horrible because I am totally a turn-based person, and yeah.
I hope Adam is a nerd as Ryan because he's gonna laugh too. Because I have also not finished BattleTech, and I was in it hard for a while. And I got to a mission that was kind of kicking my butt, and then I got distracted, and I have not come back. But it is a great game if you can pick that up for cheap. Hairbrained Schemes or whatever, guys that did Shadowrun. It's really fun turn-based mech combat.
Yeah, they did. They did a really good job with it.
I just wish the story is more fleshed out, a little more. I've heard that the expansions don't really add a whole lot to the game, and like mechs and new locations, but not like deep story or anything, which is a little sad.
Yeah, but that's kind of the MO for Paradox, who bought them out.
Yeah.
They release a lot of expansions, and those expansions are primarily
Fluff.
non-story content. So it's like most of their stuff is more historic games. So like they'll just keep adding on new kingdoms or new types of units that were available and things like that. So it doesn't quite surprise me that that's the way the expansions on that have been, but considering the story focus of the game itself, it's very unfortunate.
Right.
That,
Cool. Very cool.
very cool.
Good job us. We talked about things. I felt like there was another game coming out that was a big deal. Jedi was the big thing I was looking for this winter. The thing that I live for right now, that, as far as video games go, is Cyberpunk 2077. That comes out in May. I want to say I have it pre-ordered, and I already have that week off of work.
I really hope, for everybody's sake, that it doesn't end up sucking, because everybody in the world is like, "That's the game."
Dude, so my wife's probably playing Witcher 3 on the other side of the wall right now. After playing that so much, yes,
she's still playing Witcher 3.
She's obsessed with that game. I loved it to death. So after that game, and then seeing what I've seen from the gameplay trailers and the things they've been putting out, like I can't help but being on the hype train completely and fully forever. It's gonna kill me if it's bad. So CG Project Red, don't do it.
Don't fail them.
But it looks amazing. If you're not, this is from almost 2 years ago now. The E3 gameplay trailer. It's like 45 minutes. It's actual gameplay. It's amazing. I literally watched every minute. I didn't look away. The whole 45 minutes. This looks so good.
For a gameplay trailer, that's pretty impressive. Very cool.
Super stoked. Very cool. The Red Letter Media guys. I don't know if you're referencing that, but that's what I'm.
Oh, I am.
Yes. Okay. Good.
I definitely am.
Their nerd podcast. It's definitely what it feels like.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really out of touch when it comes to video games as of late. I've played very little, and when I have played, it's usually Steven, my dear roommate, who is watching a movie with his wife outside right now. Anyways, usually he wants me to play WoW, and I still have an active WoW subscription for at least another week. So that's fun. But it's still just WoW.
Wow. So did you guys dive into Classic at all?
Yes. Not very deeply. I mean, I have 2 characters that are basically around 20, which is deep enough to say that I spent a couple weeks when I could get logged in at the beginning trying to do that. And I still enjoyed it, and I would still enjoy it if I had millions of extra hours in my life.
So that's where I sit. If you recall, when Vanilla first came out, I was obsessed, and I spent billions of hours every single night in that game. Had many max level characters. Was raiding into the tier 2 stuff, and I just can't go back there again. I can't open that Pandora's box. Like you said, I have a life. Most of which is my wife. Like I could not do that to her. It would be so bad. I don't want to do that to her. Like miss out on everything. So we have a whole.
Not to mention your 4 kids. You know.
Yeah. Well, the key would be to get them into the game and have them grind mats for me, so I can get those fire pots.
That way, all summer long, you got somebody just
farming gold and fire pot mats. And so we have a whole group of people at work. They started a horde guild called the Flat Azeroth Society. So shout out to you guys. 4 games.
Cheers, bro. Sorry, I'm not playing. Because I'm in their guild.
Yeah. Oh, are you? Good.
Yeah.
No, good. Well, shout out to you then. Fam for Gamers, thank you for the host. I really appreciate the support. We're just chilling tonight, having a little kind of podcast chat. Right now, we're talking about Worlds of Warcraft and how terrible it is. So all those guys at work, they are totally into that, and I guess they're dropping MC now and Anixia, and they tried real hard to get me into it, and I had to fight it, not go back there.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's the way that WoW has progressed, and I understand that like the modern iteration of it, as far as like retail, is nothing like. I mean, it's still the same basic skeleton of a game, but like everything else is completely different. But they really have tailored it more for casual play, which if I am going to play, that's probably what I would play just for that reason alone. That I can hop in for an hour or two a week and still be able to enjoy myself.
Well, that's why actually why I quit. It was Cataclysm was the last expansion that I played any amount of hours in, and it was literally every week they'd roll out some new dungeon with a heroic mode that like only the top tier could beat and get like this, I don't know, level whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then a week later they would release the easy mode of it and then give you the same gear, but it was like 10 item point like levels lower, like almost exactly the same piece of gear.
Mm-hmm.
And you could literally just walk in there with a pug and roll your face on the keyboard and get those purples that were like almost as good as anything you could get anywhere. I was like, there's no challenge to this. I'm just grinding weeklies now, right? Like that's literally what the game has become. And that
Yeah.
stuff drives me nuts. I cannot stand that stuff. Like I want actual gameplay substance. I want the challenge, and I want to be able to say, check out this tier 2 helm I got off of Nixia. I had to fight 7 other priests to get after the 800th time I've knocked her, you know.
And I could definitely appreciate that aspect of it. Like when I first started playing WoW, it was the very tail end of Burning Crusade, where like I hit 70, the level cap, just as like the less than a week before Lich King dropped. So I really didn't play Burning Crusade.
Which is good for you because that was
It is.
terrible. Hey
Yeah,
Kiwi, welcome to the chat.
Yeah, Lich King was, in my opinion,
The
somebody
best.
who never played vanilla, like just like the pinnacle. Like
No,
it was
it was the
great.
best. It was that mixture of difficulty. It was the mixture of really nice set pieces, really
Mm-hmm.
cool storyline, and all of the improvements to life inside the game have come out by then. Versus almost all of vanilla. As much as I love vanilla, it's still probably my favorite just because of the uh, nostalgia of helping run Downtrodden. So shout out Downtrodden folks. I'm sure none of them will ever see this, but if you do, shout out to you guys. We had a really tight guild. It was super fun. I still talk to some of those peeps from time to time. So nostalgic wise, vanilla will always be my favorite. But as far as just the game itself being its pinnacle, I think Wrath of Lich King was absolutely the top of the top. And those raids at the end were hard. Like you had to be part of a good guild. Like it brought back a lot of that, and then they just went off the cliff after that. Pretty much like epics for everybody all the time. It's just raining top tier epics.
Although they kind of started that a little bit with Lich King.
Yeah,
because there was that one point where like they released like the 3 new 5-mans that were hard, but they weren't hard, if that makes sense. Like you had to have a solid 5-man group to
right.
do it, right?
You couldn't just like pug it. Eventually down the road you could, once everybody got kind of geared up and enough people had run through it. But at first you totally couldn't pug them.
But it was definitely like running 5-mans for purples, which was nice when it was like the first time you could really do that. But
But
as time went on, that was kind of like the beginnings
right.
of what.
But they had like
ended up
legit raids back then too. Like so to beat the Lich
Sure.
King was insane. Like it was an insane run, like
Yeah.
Which I actually never even completed because by then most of the guilds I was running with not anywhere near full strength. But I saw most of the content. It was good. I just really liked it. It was really, really solid. I honestly think they started it in BC. BC will forever be the one I hate the most because after grinding for untold hours of game, I absolutely remember the first boar past the portal that I dropped
Green.
a green that was like basically the same level as my tier 2 equipment, and it was like I literally could have replaced my helm or something. I didn't because there's no way I could bring myself to do that. But as far as how many like raw stats, it obviously wasn't gonna have any set pieces or anything, but just raw stats in level, armor, whatever, intellect, spirit. It was all basically the same as a tier 2 piece, which, as somebody who helped run 40-man raids, like the amount of work you have to put in to get tier 2 is insane. So I'm glad there's a whole nother generation of people who are doing it in vanilla right now, because a lot of the guys I knew from work, especially the younger dudes, they started in like Wrath or something. Like they never saw vanilla. They were in like middle school or something. It just wasn't something they did yet. And as being an old bastard, I totally was there for the start. But yeah, they never saw it. So I'm glad that they know that, like in vanilla, you have to dump 300 hours into the game to get max level. Typically, I think that's like the average. Like if you're speed
it does
running, it's
not
like
go
100
quick.
hours. Like that absolute speed run's like 100 hours. So it's like that's unheard of once you get into BC and beyond, because they basically hand you max levels to get you into the end game as soon as possible. So I don't know, that's crazy, but that's WoW. Sorry I asked. Blech. How are we doing here? We're like 42 minutes in and we haven't got out of video games yet.
See, we're doing good. Doing good.
Plenty material. But yeah, that's mostly stuff that I'm concerned about, and I'm sorry you're still playing WoW. But at least it's casual for you.
Well, I mean, I haven't played it. I don't think I've logged in almost a month. So when I say I played it recently, it's kind of a loose term.
I did offer, so I did a birthday stream back on the 15th, and there was a bunch of those guys were in there. And so one of them asked if I would start playing WoW, and I said if they raised $500 for the charity I was raising. They didn't really even try because that was a lot, and I purposely set it that high because I did not want them to make it. But I told them if they raised $500 for the charity I was trying to support, which we raised 210, which was awesome. It was double what I asked. I asked for $100 was my goal. But if they raised 500, I would install it right there and then and start a character. But luckily for me, they did not.
It's a good thing that I was not watching, because I have a penance for wasting money. So
I guess $500 is worth it. Cool. So what else? What else do you want to talk about? We should move on to a different topic.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did watch finally the Mandalorian this weekend. Caught up to the 4 episodes.
This is my wife's favorite topic of the show, I'm sure.
Does she, when she watches it and a certain character come on the screen, does she go,
a certain character? The entire planet is bonkers bananas for Baby Yoda. If you don't know who Baby Yoda is at this point, you're just under a rock.
I would like to point out before we go any further that I understand that Baby Yoda is what it's going to be called for the rest of forever, but technically it's not Yoda.
Yes, you are allowed to be that nerd.
All right. And now that I've said that, I'm good. I'm over it. Let us continue.
Thank you, Ryan. Oh, excuse me. Hold on. I gotta. Man, cold's just not quite gone enough. So yes, it is obviously not Baby Yoda, but it looks like Yoda, and nobody knows what Yoda actually is. We don't know what his species is.
Although we do know that there was a female.
Yes.
In Phantom Menace in the background, who is who is on the council.
Yep. And somewhere around there, the Clone Wars area is when it should. This 50 years ago would have been about Clone Wars era, right?
Yeah.
Original trilogy. The baby is 50 years old. And is, by God, the cutest thing anybody's ever put on film, as far as I'm concerned.
Like, I didn't know that digital things could look so cute.
I'm curious if it's part puppet. Have you seen
Might be.
anything? I have not seen anything.
I have not.
It the way that it moves most of the time, I feel like it's actually a chunk puppet. And given this has a $20 million an episode budget, I almost would not be surprised if they went through the trouble of actually making a legit puppet. And I would not be surprised if somebody came back and said it is a puppet with some digital enhancements.
That, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with that.
Because the way it moves, like, feels like original Yoda. It doesn't feel like weird, buttery smooth prequel Yoda.
Mm-hmm. Although buttery smooth, I don't know if I would go that far.
It was just weird, like the puppetry and everything looks the same way.
Would like to go on record of saying that the first moment Yoda pulled out a lightsaber, when everybody started like cheering in the theaters, I went, "Oh no!"
I think the old man in me also
Oh
went,
no!
oh no. I was not. I mean, I can't lie and say I didn't enjoy a little bit of seeing him whip around with lightsaber and fight Dooku, but I also didn't want to see, like, I could have lived without it. I could have went the rest of my life seeing a spry Yoda flinging around, jumping over the walls. And
I mean, Lucas kind of tricked everybody. Well, tricked isn't the right word. Manipulated everybody into being ready for something like that, simply by having roughly 2 hours and 15 minutes of horrible movie, the worst hours possible, leading up to that moment.
sure.
Where anything seemed like a wonderful thing because it wasn't talking about the coarseness of sand and how it relates to the heart of a man or something.
Yeah, what's not? No, we're not going to get into the.
Let's not go.
Let's get back to the
going
Mandalorian. So 4 episodes are out now. Disney Plus sponsor us. Some of the best TV I've ever seen. Like, it's Jon Favreau, right? He's writing and producing. There's been some guest directors. So Bryce Dallas Howard did the last one I saw, which I thought was interesting. It feels like
the episode that featured Sacagawea, wherever that actress is.
I guess I don't know.
She played Sacagawea in the. I think in this, I might not remember it. I'm going to blame people who I've watched it with. Anyways, Sacagawea.
Cool.
From the movie where they come alive in the museum at night with Ben Stiller.
Oh, yeah.
That movie.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm over it. Let us continue.
But yeah, I mean, we have the hero's quest. I guess he's kind of an anti-hero. He's everything you would expect from a Mandalorian. We have not seen his face yet, which I think is amazing. Especially,
I don't think we will ever see his face unless the series concludes with him giving up on being a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Which at that point the series would be over. So I mean, yeah.
And I am 1,000% okay with that. Like, I hope they maintain that. I hope the actor, whoever's playing, maintains that, because a lot of times that stuff gets trumped by actors having contracts and their face is their brand, and if their face isn't on the TV show. But so far, that doesn't feel like it's a problem, and I think it's absolutely amazing. And Jon Favreau is hero for writing and basically making Mandalorian Firefly. So, which I'm 100% behind. Which my DVD box set of Firefly is right there. Weird flex.
No, Jon Favreau. Favreau.
Favreau, but
I don't think there's an N in it. I don't know where I came up with that, but he does tend to make good things, like from the original Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, original Iron Man basically started the Marvel universe, right?
Like, even his live action Jungle Book was like one of the early live action Disney movies, and it was actually a good one. Whereas I feel like most of them.
Special K with the big Twitch Prime sub. Thank you, brother. 2 months. You are a reoccurring cyber samurai. That's what I'm calling my followers. I know it's super cheesy. It's real bad. I even choke on it when I try to say it, but I don't know what to call them. So I'm calling them a cyber samurai. So hype in chat for you, Special K. You are the man. We are. If you like my emotes, you can get those by Twitch Prime subbing. Or regular subbing if you really want. I don't really want to ask for your money, but if you have Amazon Prime and you want to support the channel, keep things like me and Ryan here talking, you can bust out a Twitch Prime. It gives a little money toward the channel, keeps us going, help me buy some lights and set pieces and stuff and make our quality a little better. And you get those neat emotes. And I have a really cool rage one. So if you're watching me play Apex Legends and I'm breaking my keyboard, you can spam the rage emote. Which will come out if I can hit 25 subscriber points, whatever. Anyway, sorry for that aside. Thanks, Special K. So Jon Favreau cool. is the man.
Yes. And he made Elf, which is a completely different movie.
I didn't even remember that at all. But it is still God tier.
Yep.
And he's season.
Just solid.
And Peter Dinklage. Oh my God. Peter Dinklage crushes in that movie. Call me Elf. I love it.
And it's the season for it, so that kind of works.
It was a great transition into something. So what I'm saying is watch The Mandalorian. I don't care how you get it. You gotta watch it because it's the best Star Wars. In my opinion, the best Star Wars since Return of the Jedi. It's everything you want it to be. It's a simple story. It's beautifully written. It works. It's written better than the originals. I can guarantee you that so far. But it's just simple. You get a feel for the universe the way it is kind of laid out in the original films. There's not 10,000 starships every time you get a space shot. Like it feels a little more desolate and a little more wandering through space. Yeah. It feels great.
Yeah. And it does a good job of balancing that real feel of the original trilogy with, it does obviously have a lot of CG and stuff in it, sure. But the CG, and maybe it's just because CG has advanced as far as it has, but like it does a good job of balancing quality visuals with feeling real. So
right, they use the CG to enhance the scene, not be the scene. Right. So there's a lot of models built. You can tell all the props and the costumes are real for the most part. And they only seem to use CG sparingly for effects like the holograms and things that you need the CG to be. It's absolutely, it's just a fantastic show. I mean, and I've heard this from multiple people. My wife has never had any interest in Star Wars. She's tried. She falls asleep during it, but she caught part of episode 2, which granted Baby Yoda was in it. So she was like, "Oh my God, I have to see whatever that is." So she snuck back into the system and watched it from 1, and then I started getting messages. I think I was at work, but when's the next one coming out? Where's episode 3? I'm like, are you watching Star Wars? So we've been watching it as a family. It's been great, and it's family fun too. Like it's been pretty clean. Yeah. Like Ethan's been watching it. He absolutely adores it. Like just been fantastic.
All the violence and everything is all like Star Wars level, where it's just basically blaster bolts, which means laser shots.
You're getting disintegrated. Those
the disintegration that's fair, but it's still bloodless, so it's fine for children. Fine for children.
It's fine. Oh, it's so good though. I do not get out to watch anything, so vicariously living through you. Have you been seeing anything in the theater that's absolutely awesome?
Well, Thanksgiving I watched Knives Out.
I've heard really good things,
which proves that Rian Johnson can write and direct a movie that's not boring and makes sense from beginning to end.
So not as long as it's not a Star Wars movie.
Well, Looper was better than Star Wars, but it was not a perfect movie by any means.
I like it, but it's not perfect.
But I would say Knives Out is perfect is a strong word, but it is a very, very solid movie.
Like Otis. So not.
Hey, I told you.
So not what?
The Last Jedi.
Oh yeah.
So not the last. It is not The Last Jedi.
I thought it said TLI, not TLJ. So sorry, that was just my inability to read. But yes, Jedi. Yeah, that was so terrible. What's that? What's
Yeah, we're not going to talk about it. Let me save that for later dates when we decide we want to rant. But Knives
after
Out
we
was
see
really
the
good
third one here that's coming out, we can talk about the newest trilogy.
as a whole piece.
Who's in
No,
Knives Out? Is it Daniel Craig? Is he like the main?
yeah, Daniel Craig is the primary detective. So he's doing the whole Kentucky accent, which he does Southern accents pretty well. He did a very messy Southern accent in Logan Lucky, which if you haven't seen that movie, you need to see that
I have
movie.
not seen that. I don't even know if I've
It's
heard of it.
it came out like 2 or 3 years ago. It's basically a redneck Ocean's 11
I'm in.
with
I'm in.
where instead of robbing a casino, they're robbing a NASCAR race, and it's fantastic. And
I'm definitely in.
Channing Tatum, Adam Driver are like the two main
Oh,
characters,
nice.
and
Yeah.
then Daniel Craig plays like an thieving expert of some sort that they bring in. It's a fantastic movie.
It's especially good timing because I just watched the latest version of Rick and Morty, which makes total fun of heist movies. It's literally like a half
Perfect.
hour just obliterating heist movie tropes. So I'm totally in the mood for a good heist movie now.
Then you should watch it. I should give you my Voodoo login so you can watch it on there.
Cool. Yeah, I'll figure out a way. Either through that or
I'm sure you'll find some way to do it.
I'll find some way. Yeah, I don't know. Really, I haven't seen any movies. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is coming out in DVD or whatever. So I think
That
I
is
want to.
worth watching.
I really want to see that Tarantino. I'm a
It
big
it
Tarantino fan. So
it might be like I'm not a huge Tarantino person, but this is definitely my favorite Tarantino movie I've ever seen.
oh, good. I've heard good things from most people. Um, I'm all in. I've everything from Reservoir Dogs up. I've loved every Tarantino film. So some better than others, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm a very happy Tarantino fan. Boy, weird hair in my pop filter. Sorry about that, internet.
Can't imagine how that happened. But no, it's really good. So when it comes out, you'll definitely want to
I
watch
think I
it.
have that in my queue. Yeah, I'm super stoked for it. Other movies. I can't think of any other movies. Chat, you got any movies we should have been seeing?
If it's halfway decent, I've probably watched it.
Ryan
Just because
goes
I
to a
have
lot of
a
movies.
list and I have no life. That's not true. I have plenty of life, but
Joker. I have not seen Joker yet either. Is
that's
that
the one I did not go to. Part of me,
do you fear the Joker?
I don't fear it. I just kind of don't care. It's like from everything I've heard and read, it's a fantastic movie, and like people say it was really well done. It's very good, but at the same time, I'm like, if you have a Joker movie without Batman, then what's like? That's not really something I care about. Like, I get it; it's a sort of story that people would enjoy, but I don't care. At the end of the day, I don't care.
Doesn't look like that's really coming out on release yet. So I have definitely not seen it. I
OJ does hate movies, so if he says he liked it,
take that with a grain of salt. Sorry. I want to see it. Everybody says they've liked it. I think as a comic book nerd, like you kind of are alluding to, and you're more of a DC guy than me, but uh, I have trouble with the movie not having Batman in it, and I have a huge problem exploring Joker's origin story. And I know that other like animated films and like the comic books have attempted to do this in the past, kind of off here and there because they're comic books and they get bored. But to me, the iconic Joker is really the one that's like pure chaos and nobody knows where it came from. And he just showed up one day and he is now just like the intellectual equivalent to Batman, just in an evil, chaotic way.
Mhm.
And that's not knowing where that came from to me.
Yeah,
Like,
and
helps.
in that same like wavelength, like when the two are so diametrically opposed that like the chaotic brilliance, if you will, without like the Batman's steady justice bringing, like if you don't have the balance, then this side is just, it's basically just another create chaos movie, which I feel like Hollywood has plenty of those without necessarily bringing in the Joker brand name to do that.
Right.
But
I almost wonder if I'd be more excited if the movie is the exact same movie as it is, but it's just called Clown Guy. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe. Of course, everybody in the world would be like, they're just copying the Joker.
Sure.
So
I
I
get
mean, like
that.
they might as well just do Joker.
But to me, it almost feels like it would be better as a standalone movie with almost the exact same plotline and everything. Just kind of scrub the Joker out of there and just make it some dude that's dealing with mental illness.
Yeah, but the sad, well, I say the sad part, I suppose it's good for the theaters and for the studio, but like apparently it's made the most like profit per investment of like any superhero movie in the last 10 years, because it costs them almost nothing to make.
Right.
And like they've just made tons and tons of money off of it, which means they'll probably just do more of that sort of stuff.
1 billion without China. That's
without China. That's going a long way.
Sick. Yeah, unfortunately I can't wax intellectual on that movie any more than that because I still have not seen it. But I will watch it for sure when it comes out on Blu-ray or when it gets released to streaming or wherever it's at. I'm definitely going to check that. But it's not there now. Sure.
No.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. Look at us go. Crushing it so hard.
So hard and so far. So I'm trying to think of what other movies are actually cool that I've seen. I did see the new Terminator, which was meh.
I've not seen it, but I don't too.
It's probably better than the last Terminator, but that doesn't say much.
It's not hard to do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's a list of popular movies. Oh, here's one. This will be super nerdy to talk about. Have you seen Alita Battle Angel?
Yes.
I know this is kind of old at this point.
That is out now. Have you seen it yet?
I have watched it like 3 or 4 or 5 times, like in a row.
Excellent. So you understand. It's a good movie.
I absolutely loved it. I did not know the anime or the manga going into it. I was a little upset that it's such a hard cliffhanger into obviously what would be a part 2 that will probably never be made, since that was a Fox property that is now owned by Disney. So who knows where that's going.
But Disney and James Cameron are like best friends, so
yeah, so
never say never.
Hopefully James Cameron wants to do this, and the Robert Rodriguez director, like it's got heavy hitter stuff on it, and I really actually enjoyed the movie a lot. I really enjoyed it. That's one of my favorite kind of did not see that coming this year movies.
I had seen the previews for it, and the first preview had like a date of like 2 summers ago as a release date, and I was like, yeah, this movie looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one of the movies I'm looking forward to the most this summer. And then like a month before it was supposed to come out, a new preview came out, and it had the date of Christmas of last year, and I was like,
what?
Okay, fine, it'll be Christmas. Looking forward to this. It's going to be the best movie that comes out this Christmas. And then like in November, another trailer came out, and it was like February or March or whenever it ended up coming out. I was like, oh, why are you doing this to me? But yeah, like I hadn't really been aware, like I'd heard of it, but I'd never seen or read any of the source material, but it just looked really good. And I was like, I really like it. I like sci-fi and futuristic stuff. I like fighting robots. I mean, I like cyborgs. It just had all the visual things that I like
Checks
in a
a
movie.
lot of boxes, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then it was done well.
And the
Like,
story's pretty simple, which is great. Like my white balance is completely insane right now. Like you can't even tell my hand exists. Sorry, nerdy videography's just shit.
sorry, it just makes you look more like a Viking.
Or a vampire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was like my big surprise of the year movie. Expecting. Oh, upcoming stuff. Do you have anything you're excited about upcoming? I think my biggest thing from now until the end of the year, not Star Wars. I want to see Star Wars, but I am neither excited nor dreading it at this point. But Netflix has a Witcher TV show coming out.
Yes, I thought that was supposed to come out in November,
No, it's
but apparently not.
December 12th, 20th. I don't know. I think the 12th. So very soon, a couple weeks.
So I did see.
So with Battle Angel, I was told I don't need the manga. It kills the movie. Oh, that might be true. I didn't read the manga. I haven't looked into it at all. I kind of did that on purpose. I wanted to go in blind because a lot of times that does kill it for you. Like the Ghost in the Shell remake, though I kind of still liked. Shoot me if you have to.
Scarlett Johansson one.
But I'm a ScarJo fan, I guess. But yes, the Scarlett Johansson. But the movie, if you truly love the original stuff for Ghost in the Shell, the American remake movie like completely misses the point of the existential question of what is human, and like they have it. They're so close to being able to ask that question, and then they just kind of throw it away. To like,
and then they're like, "We're Hollywood. Never mind."
American audiences are too stupid for this shit, so toss that out. And they don't really get to ask that question, which is a bummer because that's the best part of the very confusing original Ghost in the Shell. But what you really get out of that is this kind of existential what is our existence and what does it mean? If my consciousness is now in a robot body, am I still human? Am I me? Like is the whole sum of me? And then it's weird things like, well, if that's the case, what if I rip my arm off and put a robotic arm on? Am I still me? Like you got to really start taking it to like weird conclusions, and it just, not to answer any of that stuff, but it's really makes you think, and they totally screwed that up. So I'm sure the same thing happens with Alita for sure, but if you go into it blind, it's just a good action movie with some kind of cyberpunk tendencies and anime tendencies. It's pretty damn good, and I would like to see the ending of it, sequel.
And it has Jennifer Connelly in it, which is always a plus.
Absolute plus.
I was going to say the anime, which I've seen I've seen the anime split up into like two parts, like two 30-minute parts. And I've seen the first one, which pretty much ended where the movie ended, more or less. So I'm kind of putting off watching the second one until I see whether there's going to be a second movie or not.
Did you feel the anime was more flushed out or made your movie experience worse because they didn't include things?
Not really. Like the movie, I mean, the movie is way longer than the 30-minute anime that covered the same stuff.
30 minutes, yeah. So.
Yeah, it was only 30 minutes. So I mean, like it felt like an anime.
Gotcha.
I mean, it kind of hit the main points and boom, boom, boom. I will say it's very not geeky so much, but probably my movie I was most looking forward to in November, which I did watch and was fantastic, was Ford versus Ferrari.
I want to watch that.
It's really good. I'm a sucker for car driving movies, which is probably part of why I have secretly loved the Fast and Furious movies, even before it was cool to love the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh, shut up. My computer started speaking Japanese because I was looking at this anime page. Sorry, not to interrupt there, but yes, I absolutely, and you do not have to be ashamed of the Fast and Furious, unless it's Too Fast, Too Furious, and then you can get out.
Even that one.
I love the first one, and I love a lot of the later ones. It's a guilty pleasure of just ridiculousness.
It is. Like, I mean, it's turned into just over the top ridiculous stuff now, Fast and Furious. But
I work for let's call it an automotive brand. that really gets into this stuff, and the people who know things said this is one of the best car movies I've ever seen, and they are actual car nuts,
Yeah.
and I'm super stoked to see it. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it's good from beginning to end. I mean, it's definitely not like a giant action piece or anything, but like it's solid. The story keeps moving, and if you're interested in like car stuff, especially like 60s era, then it's it's very good.
Le Mans,
Le Mans.
Ford beating Ferrari at Le Mans. Hashtag spoilers. With the GT40. So the
Mhm.
place I work actually had some of the Le Mans GT40s in the building last week or the week before. So it
Very
was
cool.
really cool to see those if you're in.
I'm too poor to really like fast and nice cars.
Admire them at a distance.
I
Almost
like to watch
everybody's that
them in
poor.
the movie shows where I can just imagine.
There are very, very few people who can afford some of that stuff, especially like a original Le Mans GT40. That car's got to be worth $1 million, I would expect.
Yeah, I would think so.
Speaking of oddball anime kind of twist, I know you enjoyed. Um, how was the name of that show Nickelodeon had on? Um, with Yang, the
The Avatar.
Avatar, Last Airbender. Have
Hmm.
you watched The Dragon Prince on Netflix?
I have not. I have walked through a room as it was being watched many, many times, but I have not watched it
So
myself.
it's a bit kid focused, but so was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
True.
But if you enjoyed that style and just the way that the show flowed, I would highly, highly recommend The Dragon Prince on Netflix. It is. I believe it's done by some of the same people. I have not officially gone back and looked at that, but it is very well done. It paces very well. It has a lot of the same kind of adventure to it, but yeah, very different. So it's not really copying it, but it has some of the elements like literal elements. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
fire, earth, water stuff going on.
So let me ask you this question: since we're talking of animated shows on Netflix, would you rank it? Would you recommend it higher than you would recommend High Score Girl?
Oh my god, no! They're not apples, not apples to apples by
Not at all.
any
Not at
means,
all.
because Dragon Prince is actually, I believe, an American firm that just like Avatar was is kind of just done in the Jap anime style. Where
Mm,
High Score Girl is very, very Jap anime and very
very
brilliant.
much.
Did you ended up watching that, right? Did you
Yeah,
start?
I don't think I finished it because me and Steven were watching it together, my roommate, and we
Okay.
got through like the first 6 or 7
Uh,
episodes, which is like almost there through it. But
yeah, it's very short. I don't know how you stopped. I had no idea what to expect. So a lot of times when I'm not into an anime and I don't want to get invested like a movie, I'll just turn on Netflix and find whatever random one, and I'll click it. And I'll start watching, which usually leads to an entire list of like 10-minutely watched ones where I'm like, okay, nah, I don't. This is silly. But that one I didn't stop. Like as soon as it started, I could not stop. I couldn't put it down. It is.
good.
If you are somebody that enjoys arcades and you've ever been young and dealing with relationships and stuff, like
And
it's got a lot of really fun stuff.
especially if you have any nostalgia at all for like early 90s arcade
80s,
games,
yeah,
late
like
80s, early 90s.
Street Fighter in particular type stuff. Like if you love Street Fighter, like this show for you. Like it's really well done. It's really funny. It's really fast paced. The characters are just absolutely bonkers crazy, which I like in my anime. Um, really good. High Score Girl. I highly recommend that.
Yeah. And OJ, I have watched now the first half of season 2 of One Punch Man.
Uh this is something I keep trying to get into. I keep hearing that it is fantastic.
The first
But
season is wonderful. The second season is very good, but so far I would not call it as good as season 1,
sure.
but it's very good. Very good.
Do you have it in English dub? Like this may be blasphemy.
Season 1, I think you can get in dub now
Okay.
on. on Hulu, and I think you can get it other places. Season 2 is I've only seen it subbed.
Because on Netflix when they had it, it was only subtitled, and I can watch a show in subtitled, but I will not.
I can, but I won't.
Hey, Take the Crown, thanks for lurking. Good luck with your COD, buddy. Get them kills. I'm usually too busy, and usually the shows I watch I have to do while I'm doing other things.
Yeah.
Parenting or whatever. And so I don't usually have the time to pay attention to the show enough to be able to watch subtitles, which is why I put off Attack for Titan for so long. But I did buy a couple months of
Attack for Titan?
Yeah, sorry. I get it
wrong. No, you said Attack for. It's Attack on. That's okay. Keep going. On.
We're good. I said of, but regardless, whatever it was,
either way,
I said it wrong.
Either way.
Yeah. Attack on Titans.
Titan.
Singular. Shut up. Yeah. Ruined it all for me. What's the streaming service from Funimation? They have it. They have it dubbed. So I finally watched through that whole series, and I see what everybody loves about it.
It's good.
Fucking good.
I have really only seen the first, maybe part of season 2, but all of season 1, part of season 2, and I enjoyed it. And then that's just where, at that point, it had caught up to, and then I just kind of stopped because there wasn't anything new at that point, and never got back into it. But
yeah, I think
the best
parts are near the beginning, but I watched it all the way through, and it was super good.
I will say completely unashamedly that I love My Hero Academia.
That's another one that I would like to get into. That is not on Netflix, so I'd have to stream it somewhere else.
Season 4 is currently being released right now, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, get that amp up in there. Hey, Madly, we're just doing a little just chatting session. We're looking at this being kind of a pilot program for possible, like every other week, maybe weekly if it gets fun. Podcast. I'm recording this locally too, so I'll probably put it up on YouTube later. So glad you stopped by.
So the whole world can see our ramblings.
Mostly, I'm sure we're chatting about nerdy things like, well, we haven't started on comic books yet, but TV shows, anime, like video games, all that kind of stuff. But really any topics on the table. So if you got any questions or want to chat, feel free to jump in and participate. We just basically went over some anime stuff. It's super nerdy like that. I have to tell the story. Did I tell you what happened to Deadpool?
What happened to Deadpool? I don't think so. You may have.
All right, so let me get some props here.
You can tell this is going to be an intense story.
So I don't know if you remember this guy. You may not have, but I bought this figure. I don't know if it's going to focus. Not really. Anyway, this is a Deadpool figure that I bought a long time ago. So this is 2007, and it was at the. It is very messed up. If you notice that it is missing pieces.
Yes.
So here is the arm and sword that is supposed to come with it. Its face is kind of scraped up. So I've had this thing for a long time. I was in the comic book store one day and I saw it and a handful of other figurines like it. This is this is hipster Deadpool time. You know, we've been fans of Deadpool way before, like the movies and all that kind of stuff. So I've had this sitting around. It's survived for many, many years, and it was sitting in my office. And the other day, and my youngest son came in, so you can see instantly where this is going. And he had to play with Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, actually Deadpool, got played with, and his arm got ripped off and everything. And I was devastated. I have a lot of sentimental value for this stupid figurine, big man baby moment, whatever. I'm devastated. He was trying to play with the arm. He was smashing it on the table, which is why his face is all messed up. A bunch of the toys are messed up, but this one got broke. So I start Googling. Hours go by, and I have not found anything on this. I have no idea where it came from. There's markings on the bottom. My light's too bright, but there's markings on the bottom. There's markings on the box. I could not figure it out. So during a comic book live stream, so our local comic book store actually live streams once a week, once every other week. It's like an auction. They'll throw up just random stuff in the store, and people can bid on it.
How do I not even know this?
You've never watched any of the Tops live
No.
streams? Oh my god,
I'm such a horrible supporter
they're
of things.
so much fun. Well, as you may know, I have a box there, and I usually only pick it up like once a year. It's kind of this really terrible joke that they I don't know if they like it, but they entertain it. So I popped into the live stream. I said, "Hey," and I could hear sorry, I'm gonna forget his name, the main guy there.
Mike?
Yeah, I think so. In the way back, and all I hear is, "Adam, your box is getting full." So I'm like, "All right, yeah, cool, dude. I'll be in tomorrow or this week to pick it up." And so I asked him about it. I'm like, "Dude, you probably do not remember these. This is forever ago. Do you remember these?" And I showed him a picture from my phone. I didn't have the actual prop. And he took him a minute. He's like, "Dude, no, yeah, I actually do remember those. We had some of them came in on a trade, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like, yeah. So he gave me some information, and I was able to use that information to actually start looking for these. Turns out these were actually made in the UK, and they're made of lead. They're not pewter.
So you're having your kid was playing with lead. That's no big deal, you know.
Yeah, no big deal, right? Thankfully, he did not have it very long, and he did not put it in his mouth. So
I think it takes a little bit more than some incidental exposure, but short incidental exposure.
Huge props to the local comic book store. He also is going to be getting me the name of their figure repair dude, who actually repaired some of these before, and he said the dude is absolutely amazing. So anytime they have a figure break in the store, they have this dude repair them. He's reasonably priced. He's local, so I'm going to have this one repaired. So I did a bunch of searching, and originally at first I couldn't find any of these. Like, I found information finally. I know who distributed them. I got all the information, like it's made from lead, and then originally it was in the UK. I finally find an eBay auction that comes up, and it's from the UK. He wants like 70 pounds, and then with shipping, that's translated to the US, we're going to be over $100 to get this in here. And I'm like, oh, is it worth?
Don't know if I cared that much.
Well, the wife finally gave me the approval, so I went to order it, and right before I paid the guy, I found another auction pop up from like Kansas City, US. It's like $40. I begged the guy to cancel the order. He did. I don't know if he's happy about it. But long story short, in bag with the magazine that it originally came with, for like $50 shipped, I found a completely intact 100, not mint. This magazine's bent to shit, but the figurine, which is all I really cared about, replacement. So huge props to Top Comics for remembering this and helping me get a sentimental thing kind of back. Then hopefully I'll get this guy repaired, and he can sit in the back here, and if he breaks again, who cares? But yeah, that was super big, because I remember the day. Like, I remember seeing it on the shelf. I even told him where it was in the store, just because I was such a Deadpool nerd early on. He was so little known. And I remember it was like $20-something, and I did not have $20 to spare, but I still bought it and just like didn't eat lunch for a week or something. Yeah, Madly, like this was like some weird factoid magazine from 2007 for Deadpool. And if you like, I haven't opened it up, but if you open it up, it's just like Deadpool facts, and it comes with this figurine. Well, that's why you can't find the figurine, because they never sold the figure. They only sold the magazine. And when I bought it, it didn't have a magazine, so I had no idea that even existed. So they were able to fill in a bunch of that stuff, and so that was some big drama for me. And that's the love of having kids, is they get into your stuff, and you kind of don't have stuff anymore.
You no longer have your stuff anymore.
Right. So happy ending to that. I think it was totally reasonable to pay that much to get this piece of amped history replaced. Though I wish it was still mint because then I could have sold it for $60 instead of $60. But I wouldn't have sold it. So back.
Be interested to see how with the repair charges and how the restored one ends up looking when
Yeah,
it's all said and done.
he said they had I'm gonna forget, was it a saber tooth? They had something else there. It wasn't Deadpool. That was these exact figures, and he sent it in and had it repaired. And he said when it came back, it looked better than the original.
Really?
Obviously,
Wow.
it's not original anymore, but it still looks really good, and it was completely repaired. And that one was lead too, so the guy can work on that. So that's a fun story.
Yeah.
That's what happened to my Deadpool from way back.
That it is started very devastating,
Was
and it
devastating.
ended a bit better.
I could probably have my wife tell you how completely upset. Like I came up. I was on stream when I saw it. I didn't see it earlier. Like I kicked him out of the office, and that's Mrs. Amped for everybody. So I was on stream and I turned around and I saw I have another Deadpool bobblehead. So it was knocked over and I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if one of my kids came in here or whatever. And then I remembered one of my daughters said, my kid was in there playing with Spider-Man. I was like, oh crap, he messed with the bobblehead. And then I saw the other figure laying outside with no arm. And I literally turned around, I paused the show, the stream, went upstairs, said things like burning stuff down with fire. It was really bad. I was really upset. Big man, baby child at that point. But I'm super happy that I was able to find a replacement for that. Burn everything. It's just one of
Burn
those
it all
things you
down.
don't really adjust to as a nerdy dude growing up. I've collected a lot of random weird stuff that I have sentimental value for, different comic books and books, as you see behind me. And when you're growing up and you're a bachelor, you just have that stuff. And then when you have to share a
Oh, I
house,
know.
which is worth, yeah, none of that's behind you, Ryan.
None of it.
Then we have to share a house. It's worth sharing the house. Like that's not the problem, but it is an adjustment to like, okay, now I have like a corner with things that have survived. This is where we're at now. So it's definitely interesting. Some of these things I've had this has been over a decade. I've had this thing. And some of the stuff I've had since I was like in high school. I don't know if I'd say made the cut, Otis. I'd say literally survived. Things that have not been found. Like just weird things. Like I have a box. You won't be able to see it because the camera's not focused. But behind the Optimus Prime bobblehead, there is a box of what were mint unopened buckyballs. I don't know if anybody remembers what a buckyball is, but they're rare earth magnets, little balls. And at some point, some idiotic parent let their kids swallow these things, which is not going to go well for you because they're like 2 pound plus rare earth magnets. And all right, they're literally just a desk toy that was really popular at some point. So you see this like cube of metal magnets. So that's a buckyball. So some lobby parents group went after them because some kid swallowed them and basically somehow got the government to put them on some kind of dangerous toy list. And then all of a sudden, all these toy stores yanked them off the shelf, and the company went out of business like overnight. So I ordered 2 completely mint boxes to just keep on my shelf. I have a whole bunch of these because I think they're an awesome little toy, but I ordered 2 just to keep safe and unopened. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that is a ripped tag that is no longer unopened. Kids, man. So that's, you come in your office one day and you realize, oh, a kid has been in here and he has ripped open these boxes that I was purposely keeping closed. This is what it is. If I really
I
cared
feel
that much, I would have found some place to put it. But I like, you want it
having
out
it
where
out.
I can kind of enjoy it. Some places I can set it up. So if you're going to do that, it's in danger. You're just going to have to live with it.
See, I feel like I open everything, so I'm ready for children in that regard.
You
On
can't
the
be
other
ready.
hand, most of my things when they're open would just be eaten by small children. So it's a little different, I suppose. But
There you go. Yeah, I rarely like leave things like I'm not going to leave this in the box. Probably I just got this, but these I already have a bunch of these sitting on my work desk, and I play with them all the time. So these I purposely ordered knowing they were going out of business. Now since then, they've come back, finding the trail of destruction. Yes, you could follow it sometimes. They've come back, like they kind of remade a new company and they exist again, and you can get these again. But these were like the original. They're not called Buckyballs anymore, but there's something similar to that.
Mhm.
But I mean, I imagine someday these are going to be somewhat of a collector's item. Probably not. Who knows? I
you
like
know,
them.
it's not a collector's item, but I totally found it in the bookstore in the U section the other day, and I bought it without a second thought.
What's that?
Volume 1.
It might be a collector's item.
Maybe.
I miss Aqua Teen
Maybe.
Hunger Force.
The first volume has all of the good ones. Like, you don't need anything else. Like, I looked at it and saw the list, and I was like, all right, you can have my $10 or whatever it was. This is mine now.
I like candy, bubblegum, and taffy. Skip to the sweet start with my sweetheart Sandy. I like candy. Put it in
Thank
your
you,
mouth.
MCP Pants.
Which is MC Chris.
Chris, yes.
Who also plays, is it Hesh on C-Lab 2021? Those were the
I believe
glorious
so.
days of Adult Swim when they like first came out with some real weird, edgy stuff like C-Lab 2021 and then later into Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I miss those days so much. Forever MCP Pants.
No, MC Chris, no longer.
Oh,
No, what?
love it badly.
Well, not to be forgotten,
Yeah, the
but
drag show
that
stuff
one
was
too.
fun too.
Good stuff.
The staring contest episode. And who can't forget the goldfish episode? Two hams. I
We'll
forgot the song
kill
was.
him.
Yeah,
Two hams will kill him. You shouldn't feed him. Two hams. Three. You're right,
Three
OJ.
hams,
It's
it is
three
three.
hams. How did that song go again? Three hams will fill him. Three hams will fill him. Why don't you feed him? Three hams. There you go, good buddy.
Did you ever watch? So there's two of these. The Space Ghost Coast to Coast show. So there was a TBS show that was all cartoon.
Cartoon Planet.
Yep, Cartoon
The
Planet.
better of the two, in my humble opinion.
Send this call right here. And then there was like a Cartoon Network or something.
Cartoon, yeah.
Late night show version.
Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yes. Which was like real people would come on and they'd splice it into the show, and it looked like almost like terrible Weird Al interviews.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that. Like I would laugh so hard I would just die.
I love them both. I love them both. The reason why I love Cartoon Planet a little bit more is because it was the introduction of the modern brat character.
That's true.
Which did not really exist at all in Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
I enjoyed that one because you could come home from like school or something in the midday and they'd have that playing, where the other one was like a late night show. But I remember I had a friend back in like middle school or whatever when that original show came out, and he had like a VHS tape of it, and we like would sit there and watch it over and over and over. It was just so beyond
because it was fantastic.
So good.
That was before like Adult Swim was a thing. That was just,
that's got to be like one of the original William Street production, because I remember that William Street logo at the end.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was a gorgeous thing. I miss that stuff. They don't make TV shows like that.
No. Well, that's because things like that nowadays. Yeah, I was gonna say things like that nowadays. It all just ends up on some sort of YouTube or
YouTube channel.
No more late night Cartoon Network.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of that stuff in a long time. Somebody brought up Regular Show the other day, and I think that was the last like Cartoon Network show that I remember like kind of really watching.
Well, it wasn't Adventure Time Cartoon Network.
Yes. So I have my Adventure Time backpack here. I'm just going to show off all my
All the cool stuff.
with sword. I have Finn's sword back there. I think that's been beat up by the kids, but that's fine. I could bought it for them, technically.
Technically.
It's mine again now. Yeah, so we would watch Adventure Time, which I was completely obsessed with. But Ethan, when he was younger, my oldest, we'd watch that together. He really enjoyed it, even though he was kind of young to understand some of the themes. But I loved it. And the regular show would come on sometime around before or after, I forget. So I would catch it just because we were watching it. And regular show was fun. That was fun, especially if you're an 80s nostalgia type person. They had all this throwback 80s stuff, which was usually really fun.
Yeah. There are times when I remember and then I miss all of the old Nickelodeon cartoons from back in the day.
Like Rocco's?
Like Rocco's Modern Life, which was like way too smart to be a children's cartoon, yet somehow still made it through.
Yeah, Madly. I think that's kind of where I gave up too. Like Adventure Time was kind of on its way out, and I think we moved sometime after that, and we stopped really having cable in the house anyway. So just watching random stuff on Cartoon Network just went away. But yes, old Nickelodeon. Yeah, absolutely. Rocco's Modern Life. So the Netflix has brought back some of that stuff. Have you seen that? Like, I was started watching the Rocco Modern Life movie or something. It's a movie show.
I didn't even know there was a movie. I didn't even see it.
Actually picks up at the end of where Nickelodeon cartoon left off. Like it's direct sequel. It's right where it left off.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird. Invader Sim, I think they might have done that with too. I don't remember some of the other ones. I never got.
But what about Angry Beavers?
I remember the Angry Beavers for sure. Are we getting to like Johnny Bravo?
Oh, that's back to Cartoon Network. But yes, Johnny Bravo.
That's what it is.
Johnny Bravo was super fun. Dexter's Laboratory was also fantastic.
My Powerpuff Girls, gotta love the Powerpuff
Girls.
Yeah,
I mean, you gotta include them. Samurai Jack.
Yeah, God tier. Have you watched the new Samurai Jacks?
I have not.
They're really good. There was like one season they put out that was direct sequel
to the last. Yeah, I would say didn't they just do like one final season basically to finish it up?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. It's been a minute since I watched it. Did you know they brought back Angry Beavers, or are we talking Samurai Jack?
Because I did not know they brought back Angry Beavers, if that's the case.
We'll drop the stream right now and go watch some Angry Beavers.
I'm going to end call and Netflix. There we go.
Oh, yeah, Samurai. Yeah. So I really enjoyed the newer episodes. Like, he's kind of a more grizzled old man. Time has passed. Like, obviously defeated, but he finds a young, almost kind of apprentice, and it's worth watching. I mean, in fact, now that I'm talking about it, I kind of want to go back and watch it again because it's been a hot minute since I watched it.
And if we're going to talk about Samurai Jack and Glendon Trofowski, whatever his name is, the creator guy, we should also talk about how he made the best Clone Wars cartoon.
I was just going to say, are we going to bring up Clone Wars?
Yes. Not that CG animated crap, which is okay, I guess, if you really love Star Wars. But the animated ones were amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, so you introduced me to this sometime after they came out, and I watched at least one of them. There was only a couple, right, that actually made it?
There's two like collections. Like they were originally released on Tsunami as like little 5-minute episodes, like once a day or something. But like they ended up coming out with 2 DVDs, like a season 1 and a season 2, essentially, which basically amount to 2 45-minute show/movies.
So there's a decent amount of it. Okay,
there's a decent amount.
So I need to get that because I watched some of it and I agree it was amazing. Like
it was basically Samurai Jack
with lightsabers.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean it was awesome.
And then I guess George Lucas decided he was going to make Clone Wars. I don't know.
He was like, "Thank you for doing this. I'm going to redo it in a not as good way."
Yeah. So when you introduced me, I have mentioned that to many, many people over the years, and like nobody knows it exists. which is sad because what little I've seen, and I will make a point to get the rest of it and watch it. It was quite cool. The artistic style was just amazing.
Yeah, now I'm going to see if I can find something with it to put in the chat. Because people just need to know.
They need to know.
Oh my goodness, YouTube has a full 2-hour, 12-minute full series. Well, thank you, YouTube. We'll
Thanks, YouTube. Hold on one second.
There y'all go. Holy Adam disappeared. So at any rate, you all should click that link. And then when you've got 2 hours, you should watch it and make yourself feel happy about what you've missed in life.
What did I miss?
Oh, I just was continuing to talk while you were gone about how everybody should click the link.
I had to crack a window. It's getting really hot in here.
Well, we are lighting it up with this chat, so
we are lighting it up. Feels good. This has been fun.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's who's joined us or not, I guess we should probably learn if we're going to be on for 2 hours to explain what we're doing. This is what we're doing. We're just chatting. Ryan, we have a lot of similar interests. We have been friends since at least middle school.
Yeah. I would say junior high, middle school, band class.
So it's been a long time. Long time.
How long ago? We're almost at 20 years since graduation. So like 27, 28 years, something possibly ridiculous like that.
Band nerds for sure. Band nerds, comic book nerds, movie nerds. We like a lot of nerdy stuff. Tech stuff. Big into tech stuff.
If it's nerdy, we probably at least have some knowledge of it, if not interest.
And we've always flirted with the idea. So like Ryan will come over. We tend to have a board game night, which I'm still working on details. So watch out for this.
Cameras, action.
We want to get some cameras and mics set up. We're trying to figure out the logistics. Ryan and I have talked about this. So when we do our board game nights, which during the winter tend to be on once a week, like on a Friday or Saturday, figuring out how to stream those nights because we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of bantering talk. And we everybody who's involved is kind of in. So hopefully sometime in the not so distant future, we'll have some board game streams. But we usually talk back and forth about this stuff constantly. And we're like, why don't we record this and make a podcast? Like this is podcast worthy.
We'll reach the end of the night and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to leave and then stand at the door. And then we'll talk about like this exact stuff for like 2 hours as I just stand there with my stuff in my hand.
Stuff we've already talked about, stuff we haven't talked about, like just bantering back and forth. So since actually creating a podcast is time consuming and difficult, for those who don't know, this is actually why I started streaming on Twitch. Was I bought a bunch of stuff like mics and soundboards and headphones and things because I wanted to put on a podcast, and I had a theme and I had a bunch. I even had the website kind of half ready to go, and then it was so much work I just couldn't put any more into it. I was like, well, I got to use this stuff, and I'm playing games from time to time, so I'll just stream and use this stuff as on my stream, and I'll feel cool about it. And so that's why we're here. And then I was like, well, I have this stream now, and Ryan and I keep talking about doing a podcast, so why don't we just live stream a podcast and not worry about editing it? We just sit here and banter back and forth for 2 hours. Hopefully people in chat will jump in, which you guys have. It's been a beautiful thing. So that's why we're here. And if this goes well and we like it, then we might try it again every other week, or maybe every week if we really like it on Mondays. I think Monday, whatever time works for Ryan. I can usually do it at night once the kids go to bed.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out. But if you liked it, I guess most of you are already following or whatever, but drop follows and things like that. And we might continue it. And then if I can figure out the video conferencing piece and how it works with Slobs, which is my streaming software, I wouldn't mind maybe even pulling in guests from time to time, or like figuring out multiple people can come in and have even like a little forum. I don't know. We'll dump more into it if we continue to do it and like it. I am recording this live to my box, and we'll probably put them up on YouTube as well. So I'll start fleshing out the YouTube channel. Um, yeah, and maybe if enough people like it, we can strip the audio out of it and actually put it up as a podcast form too.
Yeah, it makes making a podcast easy when you just have an audio that you already have in
Right.
place.
I just don't want to spend a lot of time editing it. So we're,
Yeah.
I guess, taking the Joe Rogan approach and just talk for 3 hours and not worry about edits. And I mean, we aren't doing 3 hours, but you know what I mean?
So speaking of equipment, I bought a microphone like a while ago, and it came in the most intense case ever. This is the case.
It looks like an Apple desktop.
Kind of
What?
like it was a box inside of the case, and it's called Hive is the brand name, which is why it has a beekeeper and why it's
Sure.
all like honeycombish. And it was a really like high quality but cheap microphone. And like when the packaging came, I was just like, what on earth?
Hive,
And they were,
sponsor us.
yes, Hive, please. Hive
We love your
microphones.
mics. Your packaging's great.
As I've probably, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even get their name right. So that's fine. Don't give us money.
No, seriously, do give us money.
No, give us money. Neat microphones. Please
Neat.
give us money. Thank you.
Tabletop simulator. Yeah. I would like to do some of that stuff too, but this is like we physically actually get together. So sorry, Otis. You'll have to move back to town.
OJ, never mind. I'm not going to go there. It's like OJ was part of our Lord of the Rings online RPG trip that we did twice, and then it died because I can't dungeon master to save people's lives, apparently.
You could. It was
Or at least I
fun.
won't apparently
Yeah,
dungeon
you
master
won't.
to save people's
You
lives.
won't is definitely where
It's
it
probably
goes.
a better answer for that.
Yep. I never checked. I'm sure those have fallen off, but Otis, did you ever save those? Because I think Otis streamed those. At least one of them we did. But I doubt we
Jay,
saved
do you
them.
want to take over? I'll give you all of my Lord of the Rings books, and then we can stream live as you DM us all.
I would totally be up for. So just a little quick pitch too for something else. If you're a content creator and you want to get into a community that will help support you and help you figure out how to get things online and stuff, I'm part of a group called Support Force, which I think you. There's the link to go join the community if you want. It's basically the bulk of it is a Discord, and there's a lot of really cool people, Madleys from there. I have been working on a group there too to see if they have any interest in doing like a Roll20 D&D. They a lot of them stream, so I thought it'd be neat to get like a handful of like streamers together to do like a Roll20 hosted D&D game. So far, I've found a handful of people who are interested in doing it. None of them know or want to DM. So, such as
it is a lot.
The ever long struggle of D&D players is finding a DM. Doesn't even have to be a good one. I just want just any of them DM. So that's something that I would be also interested in doing. Whether it's Subforce folks or friends or whatever, if we could get a group of like 5 or 6 players together with a DM who's willing just to, even if it's just run through pre-made stuff, like I think it would be super fun. Just because I've loved D&D for a long time, for as long as I can remember, but I've never ever been able to get in a group that's actually just gone. Like most of the groups don't survive the character creation process that I'm in. They usually fall apart.
We made it past that.
We did make it past that.
We made it past that.
And I had a heck of a lot of fun. I was having a lot of fun. So definitely have enough people who are interested in playing, but don't have anybody who's willing to put, and it is a lot of work. If anybody is listening to this and does DM and is interested, I would totally be happy to like pay for the advanced features in Roll20, and like maybe we can kick in some Patreon if it gets big and you can get a cut. Like I don't know, whatever it is.
If you are DMing and when we say you get a cut, we mean we'll pay you to DM us, please. Thank you. And also
not straight out of my pocket, but if like we start, because I'll stream it, and if we start getting like some revenue from it for some reason, I would totally happily dump that toward the person who's DMing because they're doing all the work.
Exactly. That's what I was getting at. We're not rich, so we can't just pay you to
Right.
DM us.
Or I would have that. That would already be done. If I had the money just to pay an employee, you are now on the payroll of Amped Inc. and you are going to DM for me whenever I need it. That would be already happening. But
It's yeah. It's too bad we don't have a large audience that we can just be like, is anybody here a DM? And
Not
have
yet.
somebody raise their hand and then be like, okay, you.
Not yet. In like
Which
a
is how
year from
Dan
now,
Harmon did it.
in a year from now, when we're doing our live tour across the US and we're doing live audience podcasts, we'll be able to do that.
Go for
I
it.
mean, that's like a year out, right? We'll have like 60 million downloads a month in about a year from now. And
Let me run that calculation through my head. Yeah, that checks out. About a year. Yeah, that sounds good.
a standard growth trajectory of any random podcast that's just started on the internet any given day.
A podcast that isn't technically a podcast yet.
That's correct. We don't even have a name. I will say this, Ryan, if we're serious about this, our number one goal is to make it past 7. Statistically speaking, no podcast, or the vast majority of podcasts, do not make it past 7 episodes.
Well, if we do this, say every other week, that just means we have to do it for what, like 3 months?
Yeah,
4 months?
It's not a super long time. It's just a matter of actually doing it.
And in theory, after we do it 7 times, we get more comfortable with talking and bantering, which we already do. But then we become more entertaining by sheer effort.
Then eventually we can have people on and stuff too. I think that'd be fun.
I mean, if you like people.
I don't.
I know, that's the problem.
That's why I'm a streamer. I like people. I'm a people person.
I am a people person. I talk to people so other people don't have to.
Sometimes that's what happens at work. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. So that was a fun recap again. If we keep going, we'll come up with a name. We'll do some more official podcasting stuff. But now we're just yakking about nerd stuff. So we got like 10 minutes left, and I'd be remiss if I didn't at least ask about comic books, since that is one of our favorite topics, and we haven't really covered any of that. Have you been in any comic books recently that you love, don't love, anything you want to see coming out? Is there a poll list people should be working on right now?
This is where I show how completely out of my normal element I am by saying no.
You haven't been.
I don't think I've actually opened a single comic book in months, which makes me sad. Very sad, actually, because there are plenty of comics right there.
Sure. Well,
but
new one. We'll recommend one. So if you have not read this series yet, Lazarus.
Oh, Lazarus. Nice.
I have the first 6 trades of this. Somebody recommended it to me. It's kind of a post-apocalyptic, I'd say a tiny bit cyberpunk. Maybe, dare I say, Game of Thrones-ish, because there's multiple houses that kind of own the post-apocalyptic world, and they fight each other over resources and things like that. It's been a really solid read so far. Really solid.
That tells me a lot more about it than I knew. I have the first trade. Well, actually, I have a digital form of the first trade, and I've read it, and I enjoyed it. But like almost none of that setup that you just referred to is in the first trade.
Yeah, I am. I don't believe I've read 5 or 6, but I think I'm. I know I'm up through 3. I may have read 4. If you want
maybe I only read the
different,
first issue. Maybe it wasn't the first trade. Maybe it was
I'd be surprised if first trade didn't give you some of that, because there's a lot.
Yeah, it's probably just the first issue. I think it was basically like, I won't go into the details of it, but yeah, it didn't get very far, so it's probably just the first issue.
So each house has what they call their Lazarus, which the main lady on the front cover there is one of the houses. I forget the name. I'd have to look it up. But they're like super soldiers. Like each house gets one that's like the guardian of the house and does whatever crazy stuff. And they haven't really dived into like where they come from and stuff. They each have different strengths and abilities. Then there's usually some head of the house, which is like some your Tyrion, not Tyrion Lannister, but like, they're crazy and they're always fighting each other. Certain houses own certain tech. Some of them own all the farming. Some of them own medical tech. So they have almost like guilds or something around some industry. So they kind of battle each other over resources sometimes. And I don't know. It's very different. And if it's something that I think most people have not heard of, I would recommend if you're looking for something that's not like a superhero comic or whatever, you can get it. It's pretty approachable. There's just a bunch of trades you can pick up. It's pretty fun.
Yes. I will, going super old school, and especially because I just showed somebody the movie for the first time, I will say if you haven't seen it, watch Scott. Don't watch. Read Scott Pilgrim. Or watch it.
I know you have the big fancy hardcover books.
I'm gonna disappear and grab it real quick.
So yeah, I agree with Ryan. If you want something really weird but super fun and approachable, especially for more adults, not like porn or anything weird, but adult style themes, younger adult themes like with love life and stuff. Yeah, artwork is fantastic. The story is fantastic. I personally love the movie, though it's not as good as the books, but I do love the movie. I highly would recommend getting into Scott Pilgrim too.
Look at this fantastic color artwork.
It's that, man. That is a beautiful book. I may have to pick up those hard copies.
They're nice. The hard copies are hardcover copies are amazing.
Are they all color? Because these,
yes.
I mean, you know this, but the originals is more like a manga style black and white ink artwork, which is still just absolutely beautiful. Some of them will have like the front page or something will be colored.
I think volume 4 is the only one that has the front. Okay. But yes. Anyway, but yeah, these are all 6 volumes from beginning to end are color all the way through.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Part of the final. I don't know if it's a final release, but like the deluxe hardcover editions.
Yeah. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it doesn't have to be new stuff, but maybe at the end of every one of these, we at least recommend something that's kind of obscure and in the background and not normal comics that we have laying around. Because I have a handful of things that I could probably pull that would be different. Give people a chance to see something different to read. Get on a pull list somewhere. Visit your local comic store. Support them.
Don't be me. Be Adam. Go at least once a year and buy a box.
If people don't understand what a box is, 'cause I don't know how many people are going to watch this and know what kind of. So most comic book stores will have like a reservation box that you can kind of purchase, and usually they'll give you like a 10% discount or something with it.
It's basically a subscription, if you will, where you have certain titles you subscribe to, and then
they called them pull lists back in the day, I think, where you give them a list of here's the ones I want. So when they order them, they knew to order extras for the people on their box owners to say, so I'm getting Spider-Man whatever to something this week. Normally I sell 10 copies, but all of 10 of my boxes want a copy, so I'll order 10 more type of a thing. And they usually give you a little bit of discount, and then you have them there, so you don't have to like rush in on Wednesday, comic book day, and grab them. You just get a copy in your box. But don't wait a year to buy it, because that's a long time for them to hold on to inventory that they're expecting to
sell. They don't like doing it that way. They don't have a large overhead, so they prefer to get their money for the comics that they've paid for.
I actually got the comment once that I completely screwed their Friday numbers, because I was heading home from work one day. I was like, crap, I need to go pick up that box. It was Friday right before they closed, and they like hardly ever sell anything on a Friday. And like, it was gross. It was like, I don't know, $150, which was probably more than they've sold the whole day. And he's like, man, I'm going to look back at this in like a year when I go over the numbers and be like, what the hell happened on that day? And I'm going to forget that you came in.
They just need to make a little note. Adam came this time.
Yeah.
This day. This year.
All right, Ryan. That's well, we started a little late, but that's 11 o'clock. That's damn near 2 hours. I thought this was fun. It was we talked the whole time. Chat was involved. I think we'll probably do this again.
I think so. So we should come up with some sort of cheesy name for next time.
Yeah, we'll work on that. That'll be our next goal. So if you enjoyed yourself, smash that like button. Subscribe if you got a. Well, if this ends up on YouTube, subscribe there because that doesn't cost you anything. If you're on Twitch right now, toss me a Prime sub if you got one laying around because that helps support the channel and we can do things like mics and lights and stuff like that and invest more into the podcast. And then if we keep doing these, watch out for us on your favorite podcatcher. Maybe we'll get to that point.
It'll be great.
All right, that's all I got. I guess we'll talk to you when we do this again. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.